Hey there, I'm Rye Myers, your Broadway and Entertainment BFF, and you're watching Live with Rye. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's so great to see you all again. Hey, before we begin, I have a huge favor to ask of you. If you're joining on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. And listen, I love being able to bring you all this exciting content and great interviews like the person I have today, but can't do it without your help. So if you are so inclined, head to ridethenewsguy.com/donate or scan this fancy QR code and make a donation, and help to support the show and my platform, ridethenewsguy.com, and the show Live with Rye. It means the world to me. Anything you're able to give, I'd so appreciate. And you'll also see it scrolling across the bottom of the screen as well throughout the show. With that, let's help me welcome my very special guest, the incredibly talented Laura Osnes. Hey, Laura.
Hi, Rye. I'm so happy to be here. It's great to see you.
Oh, ditto, and ditto. It's so great to see you too again. Thank you so much for doing this.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. For those who don't know, Laura and I actually met in November of 2019. Here we are at the Drama League Gala honoring Sutton Foster. I had the wonderful opportunity to interview Laura, and she was just such a sweetheart and so talented, and thrilled to be talking with her again in a more extended interview.
Same. Thanks.
You are so welcome. So let's start from the beginning. You made your Broadway debut from winning NBC's Grease, You're the One That I Want. How did that opportunity come about, and what did you learn about yourself from it?
Oh my gosh. Well, I was the little girl in Minnesota dreaming of being on Broadway. I went to college for a year in Wisconsin. I did not get accepted to my first choice school, Cincinnati Conservatory, and so ended up studying musical theater at UW Stevens Point, and got offered a job back in Minneapolis to intern at a theater for a year. So I ended up leaving school after a year and was interning, and had booked another show at a dinner theater in Minnesota, playing Sandy in Grease, what would have been like my sophomore year. And I heard about this reality TV show that NBC was having to cast Sandy and Danny in Grease on Broadway. I initially saw it in the newspaper. My aunt found an article, of all things. And because I was playing the role at the dinner theater at the time, I thought, wow, maybe I have a chance at this. Broadway has always been my dream. And who knows, maybe this could happen. And I had this kind of pull in my spirit that was like, go, like, you need to do this. This could be your moment. So I didn't want to ignore that. I ended up writing an email to my director at the theater I was working at, kind of explaining the situation, saying like that I was kind of feeling like I should go audition, but obviously I'm in your show right now. It would require me to leave for a weekend to fly to LA. Like, what do you think? Would that be okay? And he gave me the green light. And so I took the weekend off, flew to LA, stood in line with thousands of people, and I kept making it farther. I had to call them and be like, so I have to stay one more day to sing for the judges tomorrow. Is that okay? I have to stay for the dance call. And I ended up leaving that show early eventually. The process for the Grease reality show was like, I think my initial audition was November 5th. Of 2006. I had to go back for a week of Grease Academy in December of 2006, and then the live show was January to March of 2007. So I left that show early, moved to LA, and competed on TV every week, and then ended up winning that competition that cast me as Sandy in Grease on Broadway. And it was crazy. As far as what I learned about myself, I think we all had to grow up a lot. I gained a lot of confidence and also insecurity, where it's like you kind of have to. You realize kind of what you're up against, and it's scary, but then you also just have to trust that I'm here for a reason, and all I can do is be me and live my truth and share my gift and hope that that is what they want. I learned a lot about spray tans and makeup and that kind of thing. And then also, I was so grateful because my dream came true. I grew up a lot. We all were put in a house together and put through a lot of stress and the ringer of competing on a live reality show every week. And it was crazy, but I'm super grateful for the experience, though I don't know if I would do it again. Now that I have to now, but it's a lot.
I don't blame you. Well, you're right. Living your truth indeed. That's the most important. You don't have to do it at this stage of the game, but I have wondered if there should be more shows like that, or maybe not as intense, but exposing that to more people who maybe don't get to see theater or see the process, doing sort of a and more reality shows based on that. Obviously, in good ways and not anything that makes people makes it bad. But I've always thought maybe they should do more of that. But I agree. You can go back and judge.
Yeah, I think it goes both ways. I think, the Broadway audition process is also brutal. This is different because it's on TV and, you're put on a pedestal in a little bit different way. But the show was only semi-popular. Like, the people who watched it were really invested. It was theater fans who loved it and watched it. And, like, everyone else was like, what was that? I've never heard of that. So I don't know that it was hugely successful in the grand scheme of things. Again, I'm grateful for it because it put me on the map and made my dream come true. I've always, I often think like what my path would have been had I not won that reality show. Like, I would still maybe eventually move to New York and just go to open calls and start auditioning and hope to get noticed. So it really did open a big door for me, but I didn't want to squander that opportunity. And, I tried to really use that as a launching pad for the rest of my career.
A launching pad it certainly was, that's for sure. So it's been a crazy 16 months for all of us, and thankfully we are finally seeing the light at the end of this very dark tunnel. But how have you been doing during this time, and how did you find a way to feed your soul during this time when we've had no live performance and at the time no people on set and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was really tricky. I think it's been a really difficult time for a lot of artists, and we've had to realize who we are without the thing that we do. We're the last field to kind of be returning to business and opening up. And so much of what we do and what makes us good at what we do is that it's our life. It is our world. And so that was hard, finding an identity beyond that. But then also in doing so, it was so fulfilling and rewarding, and I think really healthy. And there was a lot of growth that happened both for me and I think for a lot of my fellow artists. My husband and I have a house in Connecticut that we bought actually like 2 years before the pandemic. So we kind of go there on weekends and we like Airbnb that property. And so when the pandemic hit, we kind of moved out there, and we were really grateful to be out of the city at the time where things, felt pretty scary. And we had woods and we could go outside, and it felt remote and a lot safer. And we were really, really grateful for that. And then I was fortunate enough to have little opportunities that came my way, whether it was like virtual concerts, or streamed things. My friend Jason Howland, brilliant music director and musical writer, wrote a digital musical that I helped co-produce, and we filmed and streamed and released during quarantine. I got asked to do a Hallmark movie last summer in the height of everything, where the whole cast quarantined together on set in Connecticut and made a movie, and that was really fun. It was with Aaron Tveit and Victoria Clark and Crystal Joy Brown, like fellow Broadway stars who were all just not working. So there's been little things that I've been really, really grateful to still get to do artistically that have helped feed my soul and give me hope. But then I've also developed like other interests. Like me and my husband are cooking a lot. We ended up buying another property in Connecticut to flip and become an Airbnb. And like, it's like we're starting to realize that there is life beyond New York City. And when we're called back there, cool. But we're also figuring out who we are without that.
I love that. That is so incredible. And I'm so glad you had the opportunities, that you also were able to escape and get away and get up to Connecticut. Boy, I would have loved to have had a house. I would have loved to have had a house upstate or something. And so great that you found so many new passions too. I mean, baking and flipping, that's really wonderful. And I'm really excited for you with that. And then filming One Royal Holiday. That must have been excited to reunite with your fellow Broadway cast members, friends.
It was the best. And we all knew how freaking lucky we were to be working at that time. We were one of the first things back to production. And it was like we were figuring it out together. Like I said, the whole cast was quarantined together. The movie took place at an inn. And so we literally all stayed at the inn. Like I walked down the stairs and into like one of the ballrooms for makeup and hair every morning. We weren't allowed to leave. Food was catered in. Groceries and additional things were brought in. And it felt like summer camp, except we got to make a movie, and it was really, really special. We all were just soaking in the ability, or the gift that it was to get to make a movie, but also be together. You know what I mean? We were all quarantined. No one saw each other for so long, and it was finally like, oh my gosh, people, my friends, like people I know. And we couldn't hug for like the first 2 weeks until we all had like acclimated, and we were tested every day and had 0 cases the whole time. So it was really great.
What a true gift indeed to do that. That is wonderful. So I want to talk about the exciting news that was just recently released. You're going on tour for the Disney Princess Concert, which came from the creation of the popular Broadway Princess Party. I want to go back a little bit. Where did the idea originally come from for Broadway Princess Party, and how did it lead to this super exciting partnership with Disney?
Yes, well, thank you for asking. My amazing friend, Benjamin Rauhala, this was his brainchild. He reached out to me with this idea to do a concert of Disney princess songs. And he said, but wouldn't it be cool if like you as Cinderella hosted it and all of your princess friends came? And so Broadway Princess Party was born. We brainstormed this title together. We took the Castle Party song from the Disney World show and adjusted the words to say Princess Party instead of Castle Party, and made that our theme song. And I called them my girlfriends, and I like typecast them as the Disney princesses, and everybody was blown away. I mean, not only were we so inspired by each other and each other's like gifts and uniqueness and incredible talents, but the audience, it really touched the audiences as well. And 54 Below invited us back. We ended up doing a series of like 6 sold out shows there over the next 2 years, and then had dreams of kind of bringing it beyond New York City. We booked a concert in LA, the LA area, and reached out to Susan Egan, the original Belle in Beauty and the Beast. Ben had a contact from her from one concert that he did with her once, and we reached out on a whim. And she said yes, and came and joined us for our California concert. And it was me and Susan Egan and Courtney Reed, who was Jasmine in Aladdin, and I was Cinderella, and Susan was Belle. So we knew we couldn't bring 15 girls to LA. So we scaled down a version that was just 3 people. And that's kind of where the next phase of this concert was really born. And Susan has such a brilliant business mind that she was like, if you let me, I would love to come on board and help you guys turn this into something even bigger. And we started touring to like little clubs and then performing arts centers around the country for the last 2 years. We had a whole bunch of stuff that was canceled because of COVID. But that was also, last year was when our conversations with Disney ended up happening. And then it initially started because we reached out to them asking about charts, like musical charts, fully expecting them to say no and put the kibosh on what we were doing. And they actually loved the idea. They said, yes, you should use charts. And in fact, we're launching the Ultimate Princess campaign in 2021, and we should join forces, and you can be our official like Disney princess concert. It was kind of a match made in heaven, and I'm making it sound a lot easier than it was. It was a lot of conversations and a lot of work and things to make it happen, but we were thrilled to be able to announce that this spring. And we're hitting over 85 cities across the country this fall and spring. And we added Aisha Jackson to our roster, which we are thrilled about. She's such a light and so incredibly talented. And now we have 4 all-star Broadway princesses bringing you all of your favorite princess songs. We can't wait.
Oh, I can't wait either. Yes, you all are going to be busy. You have to just tour from boom, 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 city after city. And it's so great because now you get to bring it to so many more people who haven't got to see it. And what is there a city you're most looking forward to visiting?
Ooh, I have to be honest. We are starting the tour. We're starting in Georgia, but then going down to Florida in early November. And we have had so many requests from Orlando to be like, when are you guys coming to Orlando? You know, we have so many Disney fans down there. And now we are finally hitting near Orlando in that region. I think we're playing 4 cities in Florida. So I am really excited for that.
I mean, I'm surprised they should have you perform in the park, at the castle or something.
I know. Well, there's talks of things. We were supposed to do a cruise actually this summer, and cruises just aren't coming back yet. So yes, now that we have that official like Disney stamp of approval, I think we'll be in the running for things like that. But I don't think we want to do like a sit down at the park, maybe eventually where we have lots of this happening. But for special events and things like that at the park, like we have definitely put our name in the hat for that and are in consideration. We would love that. It'd be so fun.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant. That's really really exciting. And so yeah, and I can't wait to see it. And what's wonderful is that Disney, you know, even though after much talk, signed off on it. That's just wonderful, and just goes to show you how incredible your product was. But when you first started Broadway Princess Party, did you all think it was going to have such the cult following that it did?
Absolutely not. It was intended as a one-night concert, and we were like, "Oh, this will be fun," and we all made $100, and that was that. And so when the night felt so magical, like we all felt it. Right. And when 54 Below was like, please come back and do this again, we were like, oh my gosh, how great. And so Ben and I, you know, curated all of the content and asked the girls, and, you know, every time not everyone was available. So we got to bring a lot of new people into our little princess family and have had so many, I mean, like Casey Levy was our first Elsa. Before she was cast as Elsa on Broadway, she was our Elsa at the very first Broadway Princess Party. So like, you know, there's things like that we like get so excited about. Like Ashley Park was our first Mulan way back when. And, you know, all these people have gone on to become huge stars. It was 6 years ago. In fact, wait, is it 7? Is this summer's? No, I think this summer is 6 years ago, this August.
Wow.
So it's been a long time in the making. And you're right. It does just go to show that it's been a lot of hard work and blood, sweat, and tears. Like, I'm not going to lie. But we all love it and we love each other. And it kind of just became our baby, that it was worth it. And it's like, if you just stick it out, beautiful things can happen and can come of this. So it feels like a really beautiful reward to finally get that Disney brand title over this. It's really cool. Thanks.
You're welcome. Well, I'm just as happy as you are for all of you, and can't wait to see it. And for those watching, I'm talking with Benjamin on Thursday.
Yes.
So it's a Disney Princess concert sort of doubleheader this week. So make sure you tune in for that as well. So what are your hopes for the future of live performances? We head towards the return of live performance. We see Broadway roaring back. Do you hope for any? Do you have hopes for the future of theater?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so excited that, as you said, there's light at the end of this tunnel, and there is nothing like live theater. There's nothing about being in the room where it happens, and and sitting there, just witnessing live theater. There's nothing like it. And we have tried during this pandemic to still do it, but nothing can replace it. And so I'm thrilled that it's, finally coming back. I am curious to see though, how this time has shifted live theater, and with the kind of invention and the now maybe producers feeling more open to streaming things. I think everybody was always afraid that if Broadway made its content more available to the public in video form, that it would prevent people from coming to New York to buy tickets to see it live. And I think like Hamilton has helped prove the opposite of that, where it's like people want to see it. It's able to reach so many more people who can't come to New York, who don't have the means to travel. And then once they see it in a video, all the more do they become obsessed and then make a point to travel to New York to see it live. I was so thrilled that we got to film Bandstand, the last Broadway show I did, that has allowed that show to live on far longer than it ever did on Broadway and reach so many more people because it was played in movie theaters and it's been available for streaming during the pandemic. And, Diana was streamed. Like, I think more and more I'm hoping that becomes, that becomes a more viable thing, because I do think what we do can reach so many more people if producers are willing to invest in doing that.
I agree. I had one of my guests that I had on has sort of said the same thing, that the streaming is, people are going to want to see it even more. Watching Hamilton, watching Diana when it comes out, it makes people want to come see the show even more. You see the show where you are and you get to see it on your TV screen, but you want to see it in person, and even more they want to come now and in person. So I think you're right. I agree. I think the streaming changes the game. You'll be able to access it, but also access it in person too.
Yeah, Totally.
You mentioned Bandstand. You have worked with a lot of Broadway leading men in your life. Did you have a favorite between them that you enjoyed working with the most?
I can't. I honestly, like, I know I'm like counting my blessings when like every fabulous leading man I've kind of gotten to like check off the list. I've worked my way through. And I know I'm a very lucky girl in that regard. And I'm so grateful that I've been able to just maintain such strong friendships with these guys. I honestly can't choose a favorite. They're all very different. It's like Santino is like my big brother. I probably feel like most myself with Santino. Like I can just be like a total goof. We've traveled a lot together because we've done concerts and things. So you just, we did the show for a whole year together on Broadway with like 2 years of development. So it's a lot of investment. Corey Cott remains a dear, dear friend of mine. We went to visit, we spent New Year's with him during the pandemic. We've gone to visit him and his family in Philly during this pandemic. So we've, we also have remained in touch. Jeremy Jordan and I and a few other friends, including Ben, had a weekly Zoom every Sunday night during the pandemic. So I still am in touch with all the gents. They're all dear friends of mine. It's been cool now, especially to see them all become fathers. I have to say, I knew them all before they were dads, and now they're all my leading men turned dads. It's so cool.
Yes, and now they're dads in real life. That is wonderful, and they're all incredible. So I can't blame you for not picking a favorite, because I enjoy all of them as well, and they are so talented in their own way, and just wonderful. You still get to keep in touch with them, and you all have had such a great relationship. That's wonderful, because sometimes on shows it doesn't happen. So it's wonderful that's happened.
No, I've been so lucky. And like Max Crum and I are like war buddies. We went through that whole like reality TV show experience together. Like not very many people can say they went through, but like we share that experience, which has bonded us for life,
And was that was his Broadway debut as well, right? Or
yeah, it was. We were both 21.
Wow.
Our birthdays are like a month apart.
Yeah, so you share both of that, the Broadway debut and going through that reality show. Wow. Well, so you mentioned earlier about the Bandstand, and unfortunately, I saw that show. I wished it lasted longer. I wish it was still running. It was beautiful and so well done. Another show of yours that you've done that unfortunately didn't last long, but has been really popular, is Bonnie and Clyde, that you did with Jeremy Jordan, and that's another one that has become a cult classic. Sort of, all of so many people like it. I've seen a lot of the younger generation is really obsessed with it. And what do you think it is about that show that has made it sort of continue to still live on, and people still really obsessed with the show? I have to say, I don't know if you've seen, but even just the regular playbill is hard to come by. They go for like $65 to $100. So
I'll have to dig through and see if I have extras, see if I can make some money here.
If you're looking to make some extra cash, they sell quite well on eBay. So.
Totally. I honestly, for me, it's the music. I think the cast album has allowed the show to live on in ways that we never thought possible. And that is a testament to Frank's incredible score. The show was not a critical success. We only ran for 2 months on Broadway after 2 out of towns. Bonnie and Clyde was like 3 years of my life as far as development. So it was very disappointing not to see it last. But I wouldn't change it for the world. It was, a turning point for me. I got my first Tony nomination like months after the show had closed. So that was kind of cool, like validation. But I think it's, it's young, it's sexy, it's big belty numbers that kind of attract that younger crowd, and has kind of become has this like cult following. I think it's kind of a smaller musical, so it's easier for like colleges or maybe community theaters and things to do. It's not so, the production value is actually quite simple. It takes place in the Great Depression, so there's nothing that's going to be over the top and super expensive. It can all kind of be contained. So maybe there's an element of that has made it popular with like regional theaters. But I think the roles are hard to cast. I mean, it's a big sing. You got to find a guy and a girl who can do it.
Yeah, you really do. And what would you say to performers? For instance, Bonnie and Clyde and Bandstand, when they closed, that must have been really upsetting, especially Bonnie and Clyde with you, with being so early in your career. What would you say to performers, that are either starting out or are continuing that have that experience, and I'm not a performer, but I can't imagine how upsetting that must be, especially when you invest all your time into it. What would you say to them to sort of get through that, or when that happens, how they can handle that situation?
That's a really sweet question. It is heartbreaking, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And like I said earlier, we pour our hearts into what we do. Like, I wouldn't have done Bonnie and Clyde if I thought it was bad or wouldn't have been well received. Like I said, I stuck with the project for 3 years to see it through. And so, yeah, it's really disappointing when it only runs for 2 months and you just can't sell tickets. But I think that's part of the nature of this business. We have to say goodbye to a lot of things. And whether it's rejection from not getting a role, you know what I mean? You're in final callbacks and you don't get it, or you finally get it and you invest 3 years and the show finally comes to Broadway, but then closes in a month. Like, you just have to learn not to take those disappointments personally and let them challenge you to always get better and continue to learn and grow, and just think of it as the next chapter. You go, okay, that was a chapter of my life. I'm going to turn that page, and what's next? And just, I think, we're always kind of looking for our next job, even when we have a job. Even, Bonnie and Clyde, I signed a year-long contract thinking I would have a job for a year. And when it closed after 2 months, yes, I was devastated, and there was a lot of uncertainty. And then it was so kind of eye-opening to suddenly be available. And I started getting asked to do like concerts and things like that. And that's because Bonnie and Clyde closed. I suddenly got into like the concert world, which I'm actually really grateful to do when I'm not doing 8 shows a week. I made my first album that year. I did a concert at the Cafe Carlisle, and recorded it live. And so you begin to explore other avenues and other things when you're suddenly available and not doing 8 shows a week. My husband and I traveled a little bit, like being able to actually enjoy a little bit of the downtime while continuing to put yourself out there and hope for what's next.
Wow, that's really great advice, and great that you were able to be resilient in that and be able to do things, the concerts and everything. How wonderful. As we get ready to wrap up here, what is your advice to aspiring and future performers who want to do this professionally?
Yeah, I've been teaching a lot actually during this pandemic, and it's been something that's really given me a lot of fulfillment and joy. And so the 3 things I always say are, 1, be yourself. And I know that sounds like really cliche, but at the end of the day, the best thing you can do is walk in the room owning the gifts that you have been given. No one else can be you. And the minute you try to be someone else, it's going to come off as fake and not genuine. So be confident in what you have to offer. And eventually the right show will align with who you are and what you bring and the gifts you have. So just trust that. Secondly, be patient. There are so many things that did not go my way. Like, I did not get Sandy in community theater in my junior year of high school, and I was devastated. But then like 3 years later, won a national competition to play Sandy in Grease on Broadway. So like, just relax. Your time will come. Keep showing up, keep saying yes. And again, don't handle that rejection with humility and with kindness. It doesn't mean that you weren't meant to do this or that you're not talented enough. It just means it wasn't your time. It wasn't your moment. So don't let that deter you. Be patient. And then thirdly, plow your own path. As we talked about earlier, I have a very unconventional path to Broadway. I won a TV reality show. I don't have a degree. I left college after 1 year. So be open to opportunities that may come your way and seize them when they arrive, because they may not come along again. So I was like, I can follow the conventional path, or there's this opportunity over here that takes a lot of guts and it's a little scary to kind of go after. But I was like, school will always be here. This opportunity may not. So it's that combination of being ready when the opportunity presents itself and having the courage to go after it.
Well, such great advice. And I hope everyone out there takes that and listens to it, because that is beautiful advice. But before we go, where can we follow you, keep up with you, learn more about what's going on, Broadway Princess Party, Disney concert, all that stuff?
Yes. Thank you for asking. I am on Instagram at Laura Osnes, my name, LauraOsnes, also on Twitter there. And then you can follow the Disney Princess thing at Disney Concerts. We have a few different handles. Also, Disney Music is promoting some of our stuff. We still have at BWay, BWAY, Princess PTY. Broadway Princess Party, B-Way Princess PTY. We still have that account, but we'll be posting probably less and less there as the concert begins to actually take off. We'll transition over to at Disney Concerts. So thank you. And you can follow at Hallmark Channel for all upcoming fun Hallmark things too.
Yes, exactly. And will this website work as well for the tickets?
Yes, that's it. It's Disney. Yep, DisneyConcerts.com/princess. That's it. Or Disney Princess Concerts. Or Disney Princess Concert also takes you to the same website. Perfect. So, yeah, that's great. Thank you for posting that. That's really helpful.
It's my pleasure. Well, Laura, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today, giving so many life lessons, words of wisdom, and again, so wonderful to take the time to chat with you even more and learn so much about you and your career. Thank you for that.
Likewise. Thank you, Rye. You're so sweet, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you.